Hi, my name is Elizabeth Murphy. For this video summary, I chose a different section because I think it's important to learn and research each section of the task list to gain as much knowledge as possible as a future BCBA. I'll be covering the section of personal supervision and management. Under this section, I chose I-5, which is the use of performance modeling and feedback in reinforcement systems. So under this specifically, I think behavioral skills training will fall under because those are a lot of the components that are used with behavioral skills training. So what is behavioral skills training? It's an evidence-based training system that BCBAs use to help train staff and employees how to run therapy sessions, or it can be used to train teachers. It can be used to train teachers on how to teach students that are diagnosed with ASD in the classroom. There are 4 components to behavioral skills training, which are instruction, modeling, rehearsal, role-playing, and feedback. These skill training starts off with instruction, which is any verbal or written word that explains the goals and expectations that new staff is going to have to implement into training sessions. The next component is modeling, which the BCBA will model a session or two to show them how specific session is ran and how to implement the interventions. It also just gives them a visual of what they are expected to do. The next stage is rehearsal or role playing, which new hires an opportunity to practice and role play a client session where they're being supervised by a BCBA to ensure that they're following the protocol that they learned from the previous components. And lastly, feedback is given from the BCBA to the new hire of what they are doing well, with the training process and what they can improve on for the future. I think feedback is one of the most important components of it, of making sure as a BCBA you are giving proper feedback, giving enough positive feedback as well as constructive criticism. In the research articles I have found, the implementation of behavioral skills training across therapists, teachers, and parents all became successful. It is important to know that this specific evidence-based training has been shown successful across multiple different environments and participants. Each study that has been found, the participants increased their knowledge of how to teach and help children diagnosed with ASD, and there was an increase of students reaching their target behavioral goals after the training sessions have been conducted. Another great thing I found within the research studies that each one has mentioned that these studies can be replicated, which can increase the generality of the overall training process across from different settings and participants. The information is relevant to know to become a future BCBA because you will have to be responsible for training your staff and future therapists. Finding evidence-based training system that can help increase the knowledge of how to successfully implement an intervention will help the client become successful over time. I'm learning about this type of behavior training in my supervision class, and it can be applied to my field experience class as well, which is this class. I can apply this information and research in my own experience because I am a student in my clinic, so I do help train the new therapists. So we do implement the steps of behavioral training skills in my own clinic. So where I've had to follow each component for the new hire to reach their mastery criteria. The training process is so important to be aware of to teach new hires and how to implement therapy sessions correctly. So each therapist is conducting therapy the same way so you can have consistent data. So I found this to be super helpful for me as a future BCBA to be aware of how to properly train staff to make sure that the therapy sessions are running properly. It's a very important component of supervision as a BCBA. So thank you so much for listening.